Hello nice humans, I'm here with a journal with me video today, and this one is another prompt from Junk Journal January. It's a bit out of sequence, it's from earlier in the challenge, but I didn't think anyone would mind if I didn't post it at the same time as everybody else is doing this prompt. I just wanted to share it. So this is what I did for the prompt Shimmer. And as you can see, I have these beautiful paints. They're from Dreamland Watercolor, which is a small, indie brand who make handmade watercolors. And my wife got me this set for my birthday. It's the botanical set, and it is so beautiful. This isn't sponsored. I just, you can see why I wanted to use it for this. I just basically wanted to have a play with them. So I got this bit of watercolor paper, and I'm adding a bit of water to each of the pans to activate the pigment, which makes it easier, obviously, to paint with it when you get to that. Some people just use their brush the way I'm doing here and add a little bit of water to each pan. Some people like to spray them with like a little spray bottle or something like that. However you do it is fine. It just makes it easier to use the paint. You don't have to work as hard to get the pigment up if you give it a few minutes with some water on it before you get started. So basically I'm sort of creating just a little swatch card, really. I love swatching paints. I find it very meditative, very relaxing, and it's a lovely way to kind of get to know the colours that you have in your collection to work with. And because this was a new set of paints, I had a little play with it before, but I hadn't really spent a whole heap of time with it. I thought it would be fun to do this again. I just wanted to play with them. These paints are really beautiful, and you'll see as the video progresses some of their qualities. I think they're really, really lovely. I'm not going to be doing sponsored videos on this channel in the foreseeable future. It's not something that I'm interested in doing, but I do want to share indie creators and people who are making beautiful stuff because they love it, because that's something that certainly aligns with what I want to do in the world. So these are what they look like when they're dry. They've got a beautiful shine to them, and when you tilt whatever surface you've put them onto, you can see that some of them have like multiple colors going on in there, and it's got that beautiful two-tone quality, which is just so lovely to see and to play with when you are creating different artworks. So yes, I love these paints. So I'm going to stick that little swatch in there. I've also got this little scrap which has got a print of a really pretty flower on it, and I have had this in my collection for ages. Well, I say collection, like the little pile of scraps on my desk. I really love it. Anything that's got kind of delicate wildflowers and things on it is something that I'll immediately hoard. I love that it's got that Queen Anne's lace, and I think the larger flower is maybe a scabiosa. I'm not sure, but they're just so pretty. And this collection of paints is botanical, so I thought they would suit each other quite well thematically, and obviously the colours go really nicely as well. So I'm just writing the names of each of the individual paint colours next to it. I like lists as well. Like visually and conceptually, I really enjoy a list in a journal. So that's fun, and obviously it's informative about the paint as well. So this is less of an artwork that's about a particular idea, and it's more about just enjoying an actual medium, right? Like a particular materials that I'm actually creating with, and celebrating those. And that's a fun way to create, especially if you aren't sure what you want to be journaling about. Sometimes I don't have an idea or a thought or something that I want to write about, but I still want to be making. So sometimes making it about what I'm making with can be a way in, and through that kind of creative block that we sometimes get. That's a thought too. I'm a little bit rambly today, although I'm starting to notice that I'm rambly most days, and we just kind of have to go with it. So you can see here that I'm doing a little bit of brush lettering. It's not the neatest brush lettering in the world. This is not exactly one of my special skills, but I do enjoy it, and I just wanted to see how it would look, how these paints would look if I wrote with them. So I thought I would use them to just make a it's not a title, it's basically just the name of the collection. So I'm just brushing that out. I wrote it first sort of in one go, and then I've gone back to the thicker downstrokes to add a little bit more pigment, just to give it a little bit more brilliancy, I guess. So I'm going to let that dry. It's so interesting when you see it top down, it looks green, and then when you see it side on, it looks purple. And again, that's just one of the things that these pigments do, and they're so lovely. I also wanted to create like a bigger sort of splotch of colour so you could really see all the different little things that are going on in there. So I added just a bit of water to the page, and now I'm adding 2 different paints to that spot, and I'm going to let them blend a little bit in the middle. And yeah, so I've got a little bit of this kind of golden one, and then some of that purpley green one at the top. So basically I want it to stay like the individual colours around the edge, and then they can blend together in the middle. And this is yet again just a way of playing with a new paint that I don't necessarily know all of the different ways that it behaves and acts yet. So this is a great way of learning, like, how do the pigments move across the page? Like, how much water do you need to add to it to give it that kind of mobility? Do they mix together and get muddy straight away, or do you need to work them for that to happen? And, you know, how much freedom do you have to mix them before you make a mess? And the only way to learn that about a new paint is by playing with it. And you can think that you know how watercolors work, but one brand or one maker's watercolors will work very differently from another, and even within a particular brand it will be different because the different pigments that they have to use to create the different colors behave differently. So the only way to get to know your materials is to play with them and to spend time with them and test different things out. So that's part of what I'm doing here. I've let those little pieces dry now, and I'm fussy cutting out the little word that I've lettered there. You saw a second ago I just showed you a piece of scripty texty paper that's actually just torn from an old scrap, but it has writing on it that is about something botanical, and so it seems to fit. It's there for variation of sort of visual texture, I guess. It's not there for any other kind of meaning. I just thought it would look nice, and it didn't quite reach to the top and bottom of the page, but I'm going to have the brush lettered piece kind of cross over it. So I've actually cut it in half to make it stretch a little bit further, and then you won't see where I've cut it because I'll put that word over the top of that break. And I'm just sticking it down with double-sided tape. There's no reason not to use glue or anything else, it's just what I happened to have there. So I'll stick that on, and that will cover up that little join there. You can see I'm sort of mixing up horizontal and vertical lines on this page, which I don't know if I actually love the way that it looks in the end, but the point of this one is less about making it into a beautiful cohesive artwork and more about, like I've been saying, like playing with the actual materials and enjoying their shininess, their shimmeriness. And that was the prompt, and so I'm kind of letting myself be okay with the fact that this is imperfect, and I know that I'll be happy in future with having these colours in my journal, and remembering how much I loved getting to know them, what a beautiful gift they were to receive from my wife, all of that kind of stuff. So yeah, if the page itself is a little bit muddled and mismatched, I'm not too bothered by that. So yeah, I'm just adding a tiny little bit of journaling here at the side, which fills in the last little bit of kind of blank space on the page, and then 1 or 2 teeny annotations to go along with that. I wanted to make sure I didn't just write down the names of the colours, but also the name of the palette and who created it there at the bottom, which also kind of balances it a little bit more too. I've gone away and added a tiny bit of stitching because I'm putting a fair bit of stitching into this journal well, I mean, it's been a thing that I've done for quite a while in my journals and various other artworks. Stitching is a big part of my creative process, but so it's not exactly a surprise to see it here, but yes, I have definitely added a bit on there for some texture. It's messy. I've added straight stitch and zigzag because I like mixing those two up. And I just trimmed some ends off there, and I think we're pretty much done. This is the center page in the journal, so you can see the binding there too, which is fun. And yeah, that's it. So thank you for watching, you guys. I hope you're still enjoying your Junk Journal January journals. Remember that you can actually keep working on them all year if you want to, so don't worry about any ideas about being behind or whatever else. There's no such thing. Have fun, and I'll see you again really soon. Bye.